A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Ooh, it sounded like Taryn.
Have you guys seen the new FNAF movie trailer?
Yes, I have heard the FNAF movie trailer. I just heard the lady for the first time.
Whoa!
I know, right?
What the heck?
That's Vanessa from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
But yes, I have seen the FNAF trailer.
Recording us this entire time. I'm so excited for Shaggy to be William Afton.
I'm so excited for Matthew Afton. I mean, William Lillard. I mean, purple guy.
I saw someone comment immediately, why isn't he purple?
I immediately saw an edit of just him purple.
And someone underneath him was like, idiot, he's not purple yet. He's not supposed to be purple yet.
Dude, listen,
you don't know your lore.
I like game theory, but MatPat made an hour-long game theory, a GT Live.
I saw that.
Game theory and its consequences have been a disaster for the FNAF fan base.
It was a less than a minute-long trailer, and he made an hour video.
Actually, not though. Actually, the opposite of that. Game theory and its consequences have been amazing for the FNAF fan base. I think.
Oh yeah, him and Markiplier carried FNAF.
I think it's like one of the main reasons why everyone knows about FNAF is because of the joke of like MatPat never getting away from FNAF, even though he's said like a million times he's done with it.
He solved it. Solving FNAF. FNAF finally solved. I can't make fun of it because I've watched every single one of those videos.
I have
two,
not.
But thrice. Three different. Okay, so I watched them all when they came out. And then once I was like, I forgot a lot of the lore. I should watch it again. And then one time, like 6 months after that time, I was like, you know what? For funsies, I'm going to do it again.
Game theory, which U.S. president is an epic gamer?
Quit.
What is he on?
This is not becoming the game theory episode. Oh my god, can we get MatPat on the podcast?
Easily. Quite simply, in fact.
Please?
Jordan, just for you, I think we can reveal now, Pertuset, that we actually already have MatPat on today. No, we don't. We don't have MatPat.
You see, Levi and I are actually MatPat in a trench coat or something. I don't know. Or when you put us in a trench coat, we become MatPat.
We become MatPat. We fusion and become MatPat.
I'm lost.
The Steven universe.
Why do you think Pertuset and I never like come into close proximity with each other whenever we're in the same room? It's because you'll slowly just start hearing the game theory theme in the background.
Oh, I thought it was because Pertuset is always next to Dylan.
Well, you remember how he said he's becoming the singularity earlier? Well, actually, what he meant was that he was getting in closer proximity to me, and the universe was trying to force us together to become MatPat through a gravitational link.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
So is that a yes or a no on getting game theory on the podcast?
Hello, Internet, and welcome to Nat One Podcast.
What? I had something I was going to talk about the FNAF trailer, like, what feels like an hour ago.
You had an actual thoughts about it instead of whatever that was?
Just like one single sentence, but it's buried beneath nonsense now.
Oh
my god.
That added like several layers atop the sentence. Yeah, I kept thinking that.
It's not even, that has nothing to do with what this episode was, what we were talking about it being about.
No.
I want to hear your sentence, though, if you can unearth it from the layers of chaos.
Very gone. I'm trying. I'm searching my mind palace, but my mind palace is more like a mind dumpster currently. No, always. No, that doesn't. That just kind of like, yeah, no, that's like scooping a pile of dirt and throwing it back onto the thing you're trying to dig up.
That's how gardening works.
No.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Layers
Kind
of
of.
information.
Does Matt Pat have any videos on gardening?
Yes,
Let's
he
get
does.
Matt Pat in here to explain.
Please.
We'll do it. Just ask him.
So we've already come back from the intro at this point.
Oh, okay.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I figured.
I'm just going.
We're doing great, guys.
Yeah. I hear 5 voices in my head, and they're all Jordan and Levi.
Is it all the same us, or are there different variations?
Does like one of me have like an accent and the other one's
That's
just
what
normal?
I'm wondering, if it's Levi NPC voices.
Nope.
It would be funny if it was just like me with a really bad accent that like wasn't, but just so that your brain differentiated it. That would be amusing to me.
Nope.
Now I'm gonna do that with you, but it's gonna be you in my head.
You're going to implant yourself with a problem. I'm telling you now.
What were we talking about this episode?
I forget.
I've also forgotten.
Oh, great! I think it had something to do with music.
No, that's next week.
That's next
week? This one we're talking about D&D stereotypes.
Oh, that's
okay.
right.
This is what happens when we hit record and Levi's brain says, talk about the FNAF trailer now. This is... No, wait. Now.
Relevant. It's relevant.
You know it's not. I really feel like rogues should stop embodying Freddy Fazbear as much as they do. That's a short stereotypes in 2nd edition, frankly.
When am I gonna get the William Afton patron for my warlocks?
Hold up. First off, he's not an artificer, alright? Are we gonna go there?
I wasn't serious, but sure,
He
let's
should
go there.
clearly be a warlock patron.
After he becomes Springtrap. Actually, at that point, he's a lich, but still, that's also a warlock patron, yeah.
Yeah, when he becomes Springtrap warlock patron, but before artificer.
I don't think so. I think he's a wizard.
Nah.
Yeah.
Now I want to do a character that's just Michael Afton, and his whole story is just the FNAF lore, but like veil it behind the fact that it's not FNAF.
Michael sucks.
Is that the Fight of 87?
You should do like Henry Emily. Yeah, because that's not been done before.
But if I do Michael, I can do the like father-son story and have the Lich be my father. That was the shtick I was going for there.
Oh, you're so original. I don't know where to start here.
This just becomes the FNAF episode.
This will be a timeless episode.
FNAF is a phenomenon.
So like in D&D, in the community, it's safe to say there's some stereotypes, some of which is enforced by the community or reinforced, sometimes enforced. Some of it are just new people trying to do what they think they should. Sometimes DMs trying to do so. It's just there are stereotypes that have propped up, and in some way that's amazing because somehow independently we've all decided what these classes should feel like. It's almost like TF2 and all the different characters in that.
Yeah.
Despite just being a vehicle for the player, they've developed personalities, right? But at the same time, they're insanely grating.
What, you don't love horny bard jokes?
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the things that are tired of the horny bard jokes.
What?
I'm 3 layers deep. This is the bad place, man.
You don't like funny bard who has sex with everything?
And not just the bard stuff. I'm tired of all the classic stereotypes.
And not just the bards, but the women and the children.
Those are playable? Classes, I mean, playable classes. What happens when you reach level 20 child?
Oh,
That's
you
an
become a
excellent
commoner,
question.
an adult commoner.
I was going to say then you unlock teenager.
Oh.
See, I was thinking possessed animatronic, but I can't.
A puppet.
I'm in trouble.
Level 20 ability.
Okay. I don't know where to start first. I mean, there's a lot. What's your guys' least favorite class
Bard.
stereotype? Yeah, well,
Horny bard. Horny bard.
Yeah, horny bard annoys me.
So are we talking like the jokes that annoy you, or are we talking in play?
Both. Honestly, I would say because I've never had to deal with it, I don't really know if in play would actually upset me.
Oh, no, we had to... Do you not remember the reason your big bad was born, Levi?
Okay, but he wasn't a bard. He was a random person. Like, he didn't use any of his bard abilities. He never did. He was just a horny human. Like,
he was a horny human that happened to have a guitar.
Yes. Because that was also when, I mean, we've mentioned this several times on the podcast, that was when we didn't play with rules.
Yeah.
So, like...
We really had the two ends of the spectrum. We had the bard that only used magic and forgot weapons exist, and then the bard that forgot they could do magic and only hit shit.
Now, this is important, though, for a listener. They hear that, and they're going to be like, well, it sounds to me like you have a horny bard with extra steps. So I'm curious, what's the line? What's the difference between the character we're talking about and a horny bard?
The horny bard's whole thing is they play into the bardness of being horny, and they're like, oh, I'm a performer, and I use my schmooze and my charisma to egg people up and make them feel good about themselves, and that's how I get in their pants, stuff like that. That's how, at least that's my interpretation of it.
Or the charm spells.
Or the charm spells,
which is the worst route. That's the worst route.
That's pretty horrible. I was
gonna say that's a whole other can of worms. That's that guy.
We've all read the D&D horror stories. We know there are people that play like that.
Yeah, true.
Horror stories. We read them.
Go check out those episodes.
They are good episodes.
We
love you, Gogglor.
I don't know.
But yeah, I would say that player that we're talking about, he wasn't using schmooze or anything. He was just being horny. He was just like the equivalent of in real life just walking up to someone and being like, let's have sex. Like,
and it ended up having major world changes.
It's just like, oh my gosh, it's Commander Shepard, dude.
It's a
well, bang, okay.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite shop on the Citadel.
I love Mass Effect.
They're coming out with a new one of those.
I'm just like, with the other group, didn't have a horny bard. Did have a horny paladin. And in some ways, it was really funny because it was like, what? That's not how that works. But then it was like, oh, now we're spending like an hour of real time to not describe the sexual exploits, but rather they go to a tavern. They have to seduce. Then there's the conversation. They pick a different one. Now they go back. Now do they make a home run? Then they have to go find the party after their one night stand. That's like an hour or two of real time for them to have sex. And I'm like, I'm tired of it after one time.
I'm tired, boss.
I don't know. I feel like that's just the case for like no matter what class you are.
I just think horniness in general as a trait is just, it's like like I'm not gonna kill you if you want to be a character that has a high sex drive. Sure, that people like that exist in real life. Yeah, sure. But I feel like most people also feel the same way about those people in real life.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Which is just like, oh, wow, you're exhausting. And
it is awful to hang around a guy that's like currently trying to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're awful company. I imagine it's similar to be a woman in company of a woman that's seeking that.
To some degree, yeah.
It's just not fun.
Yeah.
And then you find out they're an artificer, and it's like, whoa! No.
Well, now, wait, hold on a second. If they're an artificer, I completely flip my entire opinion. No.
I do think it'd be a really funny twist on the trope. Everyone at home, take notes. I know that after what you've heard so far, you take our opinion very seriously.
Yes, precisely.
It'd be really funny to flip the trope on its head a bit in the sense that you have someone who is very horny. However, they have zero charisma.
Yes.
Either because of their actual inability or because you, as the player, purposefully shooting it down.
Johnny Bravo.
Kinda. It'd be just really funny for them to just always be like, man, I want to get a girlfriend, and then some other person in the party being like, then try it. And they're like, oh, no, I could never. Like, I think that'd be so funny.
But yeah, no, horniness is a undesirable D&D stereotype trait, I think, is what we're getting out here. It can be, well, no, I'm just gonna wipe that lie out of my mouth before I say it. I was gonna say it can be done tastefully, but I don't even think it can be.
I wouldn't say tastefully. I think it can be funny as a one-off thing once or twice, but if that's your only character trait, then it gets annoying for the rest of the players at the table.
See, that's the thing is I was gonna bring up, okay, this is kind of another annoying D&D thing, I think.
He's popping off.
Is the fallback on using Critical Role as an example for everything in the D&D community, but
Scanlan?
Which isn't to say that Critical Role is bad, because they're great and they do great characters. It's just D&D community has kind of an obsession with them. Us included. We're not included in that list.
We're part of the problem.
But yeah, no, I was going to bring up Scanlan, but then Jordan, you just spoke to my point, which is why I was like, wait, no, I'm completely wrong, because that wasn't Scanlan's only character trait. That's what I was going to say.
That's what he's most remembered for.
Yeah, that's what he's most remembered for outside of it. But I think people who watched Campaign 1, the reason they like Scanlan is because he did many things that were like, whoa, he's like actually kind of a softy person and likes people and isn't just a horny bard. Wow.
And I think that's why I liked him more in this most recent season of The Legend of Vox Machina, because we got more of that. As someone who has not watched all of Campaign 1, there was a little bit more of like, oh, he's actually a person, not just a horn dog.
What Sam Riegel did was when he chose, you know how you can like choose flaws for your character, that the horniness was a flaw. It wasn't he made it a bad thing. And
it's true.
So yeah, take example from that, people at home.
Who would have thunk? All you need to do to make an unlikable trait something that works in a D&D collective game like that is add complexity. Add literally like 1 or 2 more dimensions. You're good. Like, I do it because
make a character with 2 dimensions? What are you talking about, man?
I know, right? Unheard of. Risk of Rain 1. You do that. Or I'm thinking like a warlock that's horny. The reason they're horny, patrons making them. They don't want to be horny.
That's a good trope, I think. Well, not trope, but that's I like that. I like that.
That made me think of the opposite, because I'm currently watching Fantasy High, and there's a warlock that gets killed, and part of his pact is he canonically cannot have sex as part of his pact, because his patron thought it would be funny.
Also funny. There you go.
Johnny Spells does not fuck.
Where there's a comic strip that I have seen, which is really funny, and I don't remember who the artist is that did it, but it's basically like 2 warlocks about to both go into battle. One's a fiend and one is a great old one. And the fiend one summons the fiend, and it's like this disgusting devil creature. Oh wait, no, it's reversed. It's reversed. The great old one is like a disgusting eldritch abomination creature, and the fiend is like an extremely hot devil woman who is like, babe, we have to have sex first before I can give you any powers. And he's like, we'll do it after. Shut up. And then it pans back over to the gray old one, and the guy in the great old one goes, you know, if you wanted to, I could. And then the guy's like, do not say anything. Dude.
I will answer that for you. I'm almost certain that comic was by Baal Buddy.
Was it?
I feel like that guy's funny, and he's known for making very hot women in his comics. I don't know why he does it, but they're funny. He's also known for making the comic about two paladins that are completely unfazed by a succubus, and she starts to cry because of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think it was Balbuddy that made this one because I think it was a different art style, but he does very similar. He does very similar skits to that. But what's really funny about Balbuddy is he started as an R18 artist, and then his non-R18 stuff was so popular that he stopped.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah, when he started doing the memes, he became much more popular, so he just stopped doing R18 stuff.
He did it backwards.
Yeah.
So there's one stereotype for you. I don't know. I don't know if that's my least favorite, though. I don't know who it would go to, but I gotta pick it according to a class. I think my least favorite stereotype for sure is probably gotta be holier than thou art paladin.
Mm-hmm.
To the point of I will get in the way of the party objectives.
I feel like cleric gets that a little bit too, but definitely not as much as paladin.
Almost certainly not, because there's so much variety to cleric that you don't have to be a goody two shoes unless you're life domain, order domain, and that's about it. The rest of them, there's a lot of room of wiggle. Almost every paladin subclass in some way or other relates to being a good guy, unless it's Oath of the Open Sea, Oath of Vengeance, or Oath Breaker, or Oath of the Crown. But the other 6, you gotta be a good guy.
Oh yeah.
At least if you're playing them by the oath. So
yeah, because you definitely have to call the town guard on your entire party. That's fun for everyone.
Exactly. Or, no, I will not let you steal, even if it is to further our goals. You cannot go steal the thing we're seeking. Why not? We must go in there and politely ask for it. What if they try to kill us? Then it will be our fate. That was a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next campaign. Oh, it's really annoying. If someone commits to that, it's so annoying. And it's so bad for the table too. Horny Bard might be a little bad for the table because it's oh my gosh, we have to sit through another one of these. But that one's straight up game ruining.
Truly detrimental, yeah.
And the paladin player is gonna be it's what my player or it's what my character would do. It's what my character would do. So they also are. It's ironic because they resemble their own paladin, right? They have the same characterier than thou art. Mentality. So they're and then it becomes a whole thing. I'm sure if anyone's listening right now and they've gone through something like this, they're absolutely. My ex-friend is in this picture right now. Because this has happened almost every new D&D group. I feel where there's been one player that did exactly something like that. That was just opposite to the party, and then the whole group blew up because of it. Not only the D&D group, but the friend group blew up because of it. Because one person thought they were in the right, and then it probably devolved to being dude, you're being an annoyance. And they're it's just a game. Why do you gotta be so serious? And then the whole thing fractures. Oh my gosh. I don't like those types of people.
No. I feel like that could be a good starting point for a character, but I definitely don't think it's a good thing in the long term. Maybe you start with your paladin as very you could play it as naive of yes, this is how the world works. It's very black and white. And then you grow from that, character development, character arcs, like you're supposed to do.
What?
Can you imagine having a character different from level 1 at level 18?
They don't ever get that far. They blow up at 2. Oh, I think back to my one attempt in the campaign that shall not be mentioned by Levi.
Huh?
And the whole thing about them and why they were such a goody two shoes is because they had witnessed such atrocities that they had come to the conclusion that the only way they can atone for the things they've paid witness to, they've been what's that called, a bystander to, is they were well, I have to do good all the time, because if I'm not, I will surely face karmic retribution. That was never unearthed because that campaign blew up, not because of a person, but because of 2 D100 rolls. But nevertheless, I liked.
Oh, I didn't.
Did you not realize what he was talking about?
No, I did not. I
love my character, Good Cop.
R.I.P.
Oh.
That was their name, by the way, in the comments. Good cop, first last, yeah. First last was their middle name though. But yeah, just again, who would have thought? Add a few more dimensions, add a reason why or something. Just and don't let your reason be cause.
This is just becoming the episode of how not to build a shitty D&D character.
No.
These are the things not to do.
This might not be super entertaining at some points for the people, but in case there's anyone out there that's listening that doesn't know this stuff, I want you to know, okay? This is I care about you, okay? You listening? I want your well-being. I want you to grow and learn. So I'm telling you what I've learned so you can be better. Okay? Now go off, you little scamp. Actually, no, stay for the rest of the video.
Yeah, we still got another couple minutes.
but then you can get out of here, you little scamp. I'm probably talking to someone that's 40 years old. Anyway.
Or it's just Taryn.
No, he doesn't watch our videos.
That's true.
Next up, give me another one.
Edgy rogue.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I think that's one of the most inoffensive.
It doesn't really do anything. I just think that it's funny that it keeps like it's the stereotype. So I think it's funny that it's become the stereotype.
Yeah. If anyone ever thinks that they have a funny, edgy rogue joke to make that's not meta, I'm gonna tell you now, you're wrong. And you're not just wrong, you're stupid and you're ugly. Now get out of here, you little scamp. No.
Just like your mother.
It's just like the horny bard. Edgy rogue jokes not funny. They're not funny anymore. They stopped being funny probably like after the third one you ever heard. Whatever that was for you.
I think it's kind of funny that rogues get all the crap for being edgy because I mean we all know our fair share of edgy rogues, but any D&D character backstory, I feel like you can't have a happy childhood and then go try to slay a god. Or like whatever your campaign is. Like I feel like there has to be some kind of life-changing moment at some point in your backstory that makes you be like, yes, I'm going to be an adventurer. So like we're all guilty of putting some fair share of trauma into our D&D characters. It's not just the rogues.
It would be exceptionally difficult. And even if accomplished, I feel like it wouldn't be particularly interesting to have a character with no negative things happen in their life as far as nothing. If the worst thing that ever happened to them is that like they were outside and it started raining or they slipped on a banana peel, like your character's probably not that interesting. And if your DM told you that they were super interesting, I'm sorry they lied to you. I'm popping off. I did not get much sleep last night.
No, you're right, and you should say it.
I'm going, yes! Anyway.
We have 300 subscribers now. We're big enough to start saying hot takes.
Nothing ever stopped me before.
True.
But like, you know? Yeah. I don't. Edgy rogue's obviously a thing. And people have pretty much universally decided, not only universally decided, but it has been straight up experienced. At least we have. And like, if you just like look at playgroups, the rogues really do be the edgy ones more than almost any other class. Not just in backstory, but in play. I think that's where the problem comes.
Yep.
They, for some reason, they do seem to be like the most that have orphans. They're the orphans. Or maybe they just draw the most attention to it. It's hard, right? We're starting to get into like biases. Like it's like we notice it more or something, even though it's like equivalently distributed amongst the classes or something. Because I feel like almost every D&D character I've almost known has had either no parents, one parent, or a single parent, and then it gets weird. And I don't mean like a single parent. I mean like mitosis kind of thing. But I don't know, the edgy. I mean, it's the play. I think is the big thing. Is like they go into it. They go against the grain of working with a group. They steal from the party. They leave the party alone. Combo that with a DM that doesn't want to, be a bad DM, so they never punish the rogue for being alone. And the rogue gets all this power or feels like they're invincible and they can do whatever they want. Boom, bang, Bob's your uncle. You have a very annoying situation at the table, hence the stereotype. But technically, that can happen with any class. Any class that can sneak off. Honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often with something else that knows the spell invisible, because guess what? Rogues don't know that.
Yeah.
They're just so good that they can be invisible.
I honestly feel like edgy ranger fits better sometimes. Like even though that's not the stereotype, it would make more sense for the class for them to be the edgy loners and
Yeah.
I don't need anybody but trees and all, like that kind of stuff.
You know, it almost begs the question, do you think that the rogue simply existing attracts the kind of people that want to be edgy rogues?
Honestly, probably.
Like, they see they're gonna, for the first time ever, play D&D, or maybe not, in which case, how are you doing it a second time? But you're gonna play D&D, and you're like, I want to play a character that has nothing to do with the party, is actively going against them and causing problems for them, and does everything by themselves with no help whatsoever from anyone except for perhaps NPCs exclusively. Rogue. It feels like they're like that's just where they go for some reason. Maybe I guess they think of like the sneak skill and expertise, but invisibility would be better. I guess you can't get that at level 1 with most. You have to get wait till level 3 or something to get that.
I'm also thinking about the player's handbook entry, because it just popped into my mind when you were saying, does it attract those kind of people? Because I was thinking that there was some kind of sentence in there, like one of the first things is like a human cloaked in shadow or something, and we all know the picture is super edgy. And so I've just pulled it up. One of the first sentences: a human lurks in the shadows of an alley while his accomplice prepares for her part in the ambush. So the player's handbook sets it up.
Oh, and for one of the first times ever when talking about D&D, I have no blame whatsoever for Wizards of the Coast. Or Gary Gygax. This is actually just people. There's some rogues that are fantastic. I love some great rogues. And then people get a hold of them. Or they make their own, and it's this stuff. But all in all, if you have a good DM, and even if you don't, I don't think it's nearly as bad as the others. It's more like just like a weirdo guy, right? It's like having one weird person in the friend group where it's like, yeah, he just kind of does his own thing. But...
that one.
No.
I was gonna say TJ.
Yeah, me too. But no. Even in the Walmart group, the rogue is super orphan. Like, not even orphan, but like they were straight up tried. Like their parents tried to kill them.
Oh.
So like a second degree of orphanage there. I don't know what you call that, but
forced orphanage.
Yeah.
Isn't most orphanage forced?
Not necessarily, no.
Accidental death.
Yeah, like your parents could have been killed by something.
Still not willing, like.
Yeah, but it's
okay. Is anyone willing?
Yeah, like okay.
I see there are people that are willing.
I see what you mean by that, but that's not okay. I understand why you said that now.
I feel like no one is usually willingly an orphan. There's some kind of force in there. Forced into orphanism.
I was meaning more so the parents were doing the forcing, but I understand that you mean just in general the universe doing the forcing.
Yeah.
Isn't there someone you forgot to ask?
Gary Gygax!
But at the same time, the big difference is with the other group, the rogue doesn't run off alone all the time. What a novel concept.
I don't think that's possible. That doesn't seem like something that would be very viable in play.
Yeah. And it's sad, though, because if you listen to this podcast long enough, and you guys know for sure my thoughts on the rogue in general, they feel so neutered compared to what their allies can do. Because if they aren't running off by themselves and using that sneak skill, they literally go into combat to get downed in 3 rounds and then wait to get revived, basically. Or they don't talk at all because the others have like a spell that can bypass all the social stuff.
Gosh, Pertuset, you're making me so excited to play Vivia 3.
You're welcome. I played Vivia 2, so I know. I saw really funny. Victor walked so that Ren can stumble on their own feet and fall on their nose.
Oh, that's good.
I forgot what the original comparison was, but it was
I
like
love it.
Oh, I can't remember what the original was.
Just bypass the edgy rogue stereotype and make the most flamboyant attention whore that you can, and that's the rogue.
That's just called playing a swashbuckler.
Yep.
That's
yes, it is.
It's what that subclass was made for, honey.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Oh,
all right, so next stereotype. Next. Flower child druid.
I like that one.
I feel like it doesn't get seen very much. But I also think that's just because druid doesn't get played very much.
Yeah. I feel like it's a stereotype, but it's not as visible. Like, for some reason, it's a stereotype, even though people just don't play druids.
People don't play druid because druid's going through a freaking identity crisis.
Yeah.
No.
Druid has been not very good since the beginning of 5e, and it has continued to not be very... Mechanically, it has continued to not be very good moving into 1D&D as well. So...
I saw a good comparison on a post talking about the new 1D&D stuff, and someone said that druid is the worst parts of a shaman caster and a shapeshifter class merged into one. Therefore, no one wants to play it.
Yeah.
There's not a true identity. It says it is on the tin, but then you get in and it's just what's the joke with the guy, Michael something? Oil. I forget what he said.
Oh. This tin is full of oil.
Yeah. Pin.
Pinned peach syrup.
Yeah, Pin.
Michael. Oh God, I know so many Michaels. I can't remember. Rosen. His last name's Rosen. I was gonna say one of my professors' names from college because his name's Michael, and I was like, that's someone I know in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm the tinned
peach syrup.
Michael, don't leave me here, Michael.
This tin is full of oil.
I brought it back to FNAF.
Thick cooking oil.
So yeah, that's why I feel like there's not enough memes about druid, because the actual playstyle of druid does not match with what people want. Therefore, to make a stereotype of it is not possible because it already doesn't even have its own identity to be stereotyped.
I know we've harped on it several times in videos on this channel, but they really should just double down on the shapeshifter side of druid and make that druid's thing, because
we don't need another caster.
That's what's unique about druid. That's what makes it cool. Flesh that out, make it cooler, make it better, make it stronger. And
that's what people want.
Let druids be like magically infused nature tanks and DPS instead of another healer, like a worse healer class than cleric.
The only people that want druids to cast super high levels and stuff are like min-max people. They like everyone wants druids to be the shapeshifters. I mean, you watch the movie, everyone was like, that's so cool. She turned into that owlbear several times, or all the animals several times. That would never be possible.
No. And in the game. Going back more to the stereotype thing, I think that would be a cooler way of doing the flower child stereotype, because it's like, oh, peace, love, nature. I'm a giant fucking bear.
Nature's fucking violent. I don't know what to tell you.
instead of black bear, which is like the biggest bear you can become, let them become a fucking like gargantuan, monstrous polar bear or something. King like that one from we don't call it what it's called. What's it called? To Your Eternity. I was gonna say
Pink Blood.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say Cocaine Bear.
No, Jordan, you've never seen To Your Eternity, but I'll send like a picture or a GIF or something of it to the Discord so you can see what I'm talking about. It's just really big bear, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, Drew was just kind of nerfed. That was my one, because whenever we were coming up with characters for Olympus, Arlo was almost a druid, but I was disappointed because I could not be as violent as I wanted to be as a druid, so she became a cleric.
Well, yeah, see, with the rogue and the edgy rogue stereotype, it's because they have expertise at level 1 or 2. I could be wrong there. But very early on. Thus, their sneak is going to be better than almost any other class possibly can, Thus, they can do the edgy rogue stuff like steal from the party, sneak away, and do all the stuff people don't like. We look at the horny bards, same thing. They get expertise and have proficiency. They get the proficiencies early, as well as spell casting that helps with that, such as the spell friends and stuff like that. So they can enforce the horny bard stereotype by using, they'll like roll persuasion to, get with the barmaid. Oh, I rolled a 10, so that's going to be a 25. I'm level 2, by the way. Like, they can do that. The druid does not have the tools to enforce the stereotype. It's like the paladin as well is based solely on the player forcing that personality. Same for the druid, but the druids is not harmful, and it kind of starts and stops at the same place. It's I like toys, which is not harmful to anyone. It's not good for anyone. It's just kind of there. Just like the druid. Yeah. Give me something happier, please. Give me something I'll like.
What haven't we touched yet?
The asshole sorcerer.
Is that a stereotype for sorcerer?
I've seen that a little bit on the interwebs of like the sorcerer being kind of like the spoiled rich asshole.
Yeah, because the thing is like, oh, the wizard like had to go to school to get their magic, and the warlock had to make like a really dangerous pact, and the sorcerer just gets it. They were just born with it.
They just have magic.
Like the equivalent of like they were born into money.
And with the charisma, for some reason that swings around the other way from the bard, where it's like hyper horny, it becomes you're just kind of a prick.
Man, if that's the case, people just need to like be better at doing things.
Just play D&D better.
Yeah, kinda. Like if the extent of your interest is like my character learned magic or didn't learn magic, therefore they're gonna have a superiority complex. Yeah, basic. Visit from 2018. I've been rebinging Good Place. So it's like, come on, man. It's a lot more interesting if you go, I don't know how I got these powers. Will it become a tried and true trope later on? Sure. But with that, there's direction. There's different ways you can take that of, I don't know how I got these powers. They're freaking sweet. I don't know how I got these powers. I am scared. I don't know how I got these powers. I'm horny. There's so many different ways.
Trifecta.
Yeah. The double triad.
Oh, hey guys, it happened, by the way.
I know, I see him right now. He's on my second monitor.
Oh.
But, like, do something else. If you're going to do a superiority complex thing, I refer you to our Bard comments earlier. Make a reason for it. They have a superiority complex, not because they didn't have to learn their magic. That might be what they vocalize, but they have a superiority complex because deep inside they're insanely self-critical.
Ask the sorcerer how their relationship with their father is.
Boom. Tears.
There you go.
And I strongly urge you, all of you that are listening to this stuff of like, I want to do this nuance thing we're talking about, as nuanced as I say it is. Be careful how nuanced you get, because it could be that no one even knows what you're trying to do because you're keeping it so close to your chest.
Yeah.
No one's getting that.
That is a stereotype in and of itself, not of a class, but of just like a type of D&D player in general, which is just like the guy that overdoes it pretty much.
The guy
or underdoes it and never has any of their backstory.
Yeah.
A player that's like, oh, you guys couldn't tell, quite obviously my character was acting so aloof to you all because they were scared of the threat that was looming over top of them while simultaneously trying to protect all of you. Like the campaign started and was over and no one ever knew that because they never even tried to hint towards it. Or the hint they thought was obvious was them saying nothing, I'm fine once.
Yep.
You gotta give a little if you want it to work.
Give a little to get a little.
Exactly.
It's part of that suspension of disbelief. Like, yes, you would like it to come up naturally and have somebody discover your backstory completely organically, but we're all playing and we all have our own backstories. That's not entirely going to happen. You kind of have to Oh, I'm so upset about my dead parents. Somebody asked me about it.
I simply shoehorn myself into every other character's backstory.
I don't know.
Then they have to acknowledge me.
You're the one that killed everybody's parents.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting flashbacks, except for not parents. So there you go.
What else? I mean, we have a couple other classes, but I don't think I think the big stereotypes are like the rogue, the paladin, the bard. So we've covered those. I mean, what else haven't we touched? We could like stupid barbarian, stupid dumb barbarian. How do we feel about that?
That one's fun, and I will hold on to that. You can pry that from my cold dead hands.
This goes back to our conversation way back when we rated the classes, and I don't think it's changed, sadly, except for with one D&D. I like what one D&D did for barbarians only, not only, but that's one of the few things.
Yeah.
I think largely 5e barbarians are pigeonholed. They're stuck into being dumb barbarian. You can play it off as something else, but your option is literally dumb barbarian or purposefully not dumb barbarian. Those are the two ways you can do it.
Yes.
That is it. And if you're typing right now, nuh-uh, I have the third way. They're totally not dumb, but they're also dumb. Look what you did to yourself.
You've just gone through two different pigeonholes.
My poor child over here, my little scamp that should have gone away, is now tied into a Gordian knot. And somehow I've created a horror story.
Oh, look, I've gone cross-eyed.
But that is influenced because of mechanics. Because what barbarian is going to use int as a main stat? You need strength, you need dex, you need con. And then int gives actually nothing in 5e by design.
There's no skills for int.
There's like there's like 2 or 3 skills. Skills aside, though, dex influences armor class. Con influences HP. Wisdom saving throws and wisdom saving throws are huge. Charisma skill checks are huge. Intelligence does nothing. You get nothing from it. It doesn't increase your AC. It doesn't increase your HP. It doesn't influence your proficiency or a few skills. No barbarian's going to get it unless they purposely do it, in which case they're going to be a little bit less effective, perhaps very less effective, depending on what they had to sacrifice for it. And then, congrats, you have a person that runs into battle using a reckless attack and a rage, but they can read all of Homer. You've done it. Congrats.
What if
I guess
they get their intelligence from like in-world boosts? Like they get it from like the book that raises your intelligence, or items and stuff like that.
Well, that's highly dependent, but it would be funny.
The campaign ends with the barbarian being the most intelligent one in the party.
How Olympus is gonna end.
You keep getting all of the intelligence items, and everyone's like, "Well, I don't really need more intelligence. We can give it to Greg because like he's kind of dumb, so it might help him a little bit." At the end of the campaign, the barbarian has an 18 in intelligence.
I'm not even just talking about like stats. Like look, it's funny because they're smart now. I just imagine over the course of the campaign, their head keeps getting bigger and it becomes a minor plot point where like they wake up after an ASI and they're like, my head. And, like they look like Sheen from that one episode of Jimmy.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really funny. Barbarians were not meant to be this smart for a reason.
And this is how we all find out that Arlo's actually been the smartest member of the party this entire time.
If it was that way, we'd find out pretty quickly, I think. Arlo,
I don't know, she has a higher intelligence modifier than Zamda does.
Yep.
That's a low bar. Paladins
it's
also...
still true, though.
Paladins are mad as well. They need several stats, so why would they ever choose int? There are a few classes that are single ability dependent.
It's sad, isn't it?
Sad and mad. Have we talked about that term before? Have I told you guys about that?
Yes.
No.
We have. I know what sad and mad means.
Sad is single ability dependent. It just means that your character depends on a single ability, such as dexterity. Mad is multiple ability dependent, meaning that your character, in order to function, needs like 3 or 4 stats to be high in order for them to be a good, like, in combat or at play character. And that's a good term for you at home as well.
Yep. Are you sad or are you mad?
Paladins are mad. Barbarians are mad. Rogues are pretty sad.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. Warlocks are sad, but they can be mad if you play a Hexblade. Wizards are pretty sad, unless you play a blade person. I forget what it's called. Singer. I was going to say dancer. No. I'm looking at it. No. But yeah. I mean, what else do we have for all the stereotypes? Just rattle them off. Don't talk about them. Just rattle off the stereotypes for each of the classes.
I feel like you can put edgy in front of any class, and it is a stereotype. Again, going back to how everybody's D&D backstory is somewhat edgy.
Edgy proletariat.
That's not a what?
Well, no, because like edgy paladin, you've had those as usually the Oathbreaker, edgy wizard, the necromancer, or the like tortured academic. Yeah, exactly. You can even have an edgy bard, edgy warlock, most definitely.
Easily.
Yeah. But I'm talking like, what is the stereotype? When you think of the character, what is the stereotype for each class? Just go down the list.
For bard, it's horny.
Okay.
For paladin, it's holier than thou.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue's edgy.
Yeah.
Barbarian's stupid.
Cleric mom friend.
True.
Really?
No, I get that.
I've seen that a lot. And we may not have played it like that a lot necessarily, but I've seen it.
That's fair. I felt like there would have been something else that was a tier higher.
I don't think we've done that kind of cleric, but I feel like that is the most prevalent.
I take that back. You can't tell me that Atlas wasn't the mom friend just a little bit.
I feel like it is.
Well, Atlas felt like a bro friend.
Cleric
bro
stereotype. Where was I?
I don't know. You were just kind of going.
Blood Hunter are edgy, but that's
edgy.
just because it's Blood Hunter. The literal class is dripping with edge. That's the entire thing.
When your whole subclass is knives.
Wizard nerd.
Yeah, nerd.
Socially unaware nerd.
Yeah.
Socially unaware nerd.
I am a nerd.
Keep going.
No, I don't know the rest of the song.
I meant keep going with the classes.
Oh.
Loner Ranger.
Yeah. I get that.
Like the Aragorn type.
I was thinking useless Ranger, but yeah.
It depends on the Ranger for me, because I don't get that from D&D Ranger, because I feel like D&D Ranger isn't very Aragorn. Ironically, I feel like Pathfinder Ranger is a lot more Aragorn.
Yeah.
What are the classes we haven't touched? Sorcerer. I feel like Sorcerer is just one that I feel like also similar to Druid is like it's just not played so much, that even though I do feel like the asshole stereotype is the only one that fits it, I just feel like not a lot of people have played it.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a very like, I don't really feel comfortable with that being the stereotype that I pick, but I feel like it's the only one that has been the most prevalent, so it's the only one that I can pick
for
it.
To me, yeah, it's like, again, the mechanics aren't there for it, so the fantasy it fulfills, it doesn't fulfill it. Therefore, no fantasy, no stereotype to accompany. It stops and starts at one point, if it ever even does.
Yeah, and then Druid Flower Child for me at least. What else? Fighter. We didn't do a fighter.
Basic.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're probably not all, but if we're talking stereotypes,
yes, yeah. It's basic. Human fighter. That's your first D&D character. Yep.
Is that it?
What else? What are the artificer? What are the artificers?
I was thinking Mad Doctor.
Yeah, I was thinking Mad Doctor too.
It's a good one.
It's all it's got. It hasn't been around long enough to get much else.
And then Warlock, usually for me, what I think of when I think Warlock is insane.
Bottom.
Oh.
Bottom.
I generally went for just insane, but
Bottom.
I mean those two can be related.
If you're in the chat, if you're listening, type below. Tell me if I'm right or not. You know I'm right, by the way.
But you have to use two specific phrases. You have to use "so true bestie" or "so bad
untrue,
so
no,
untrue
so
worsty."
untrue worsty.
Why do we go with untrue rather than false? That still haunts me.
You're the one that came up with it.
Yeah, who did that, right? Like,
You're the one that came up with this.
People
so
people hate on
untrue
Subway,
worsty.
but my brother in Christ, you make the sandwich.
Oh no.
Actually, I take Mad Scientist or Mad Doctor back from Artificer.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I think of Purple Guy.
Mad sandwich professional.
No, Purple Guy. I think of Purple
Oh,
Guy.
purple guy.
Came full circle. Good
Did
job,
you do
guys.
you did that just to make a FNAF reference, didn't you?
I want half Artificer, half Warlock.
It's
Or
like poetry, it rhymes.
half Artificer, half Wizard. What is Springtrap?
A warlock patron.
I don't know what I was thinking.
A Springtrap by any other name
behind.
would be just as sweet.
Now I suffered the curse and now I am blind.
You ever think about how much he smelled in the third game?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey.
Because he was a corpse rotting in a
You guys
fursuit.
just when you see a corpse, you're immediately like, I wonder how that stinks.
Well, no, not
Like-
immediately, but like
No.
FNAF's been around for a while, man. It crossed my mind a couple times
You
a
have
week.
to think if it's a body trapped, because also the stuff that the suit is made out of would also begin to rot and like mildew, and you just like
And they
I
didn't
just-
clean it
I
No.
just generally don't. My mind just doesn't go to stench.
because like it's still there. Like he's got the remnants, so it's not completely decayed to the point of bone either. It won't even get that saving grace.
no.
That's why he yelled, "Michael, don't leave me here," is because he just stanky. He just wanted a bath,
Well,
man.
but no, think about how much scarier that would be of just like suddenly you smell something and you don't know where it's coming from and then you die. Like,
True, but FNAF 3's jump scare was so dirty bad, man. Oh my god. And man just kind of said, I'm ready for my close up. Like, oh my
it
god.
would have been better if they added a smell.
Now she's starting to go somewhere I'm not
FNAF
coming from.
4D.
She's getting into that like Shrek farting on you in the theater sort of territory. Jordan brings us.
What is with the
4D
will eye and the fart tech? What's going on with you two? Why?
I'm coming at it from a horror standpoint. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what Taryn is.
I
take no ownership for my
Yeah.
brother's madness.
Maybe Alchemist. What if you double dip into Artificer?
Can you do that?
No, but like
I wish
I
you
made-
could.
if I made a William Afton stat block, like who's gonna stop me? You know what I mean?
Oh no, the third Chaos Cache is getting revised as we
It's gonna
speak.
be FNAF.
That's not a bad idea. That's
Oh
not
no.
the horror is that because FNAF's lore never ends, you'll never get out.
No.
I'll just keep coming up with poorly put together plot holes that
You
make it
should
to where the story
screen
doesn't
share
end.
FNAF and you're like, all right, guys. So all we're doing is I'm just playing through all the games, and once I beat all of them, that's when you get out.
Oh no, but I'm actually bad with those games. Like I'm scared. I'm scared.
We'll never get out.
We're never
Yeah.
gonna leave.
Instead, what if it's either that or you can watch through every single Game Theory FNAF theory at 0.25 speed.
But it's
Whichever
our
one
characters
happens
watching
first.
them.
Yeah.
So we're just like, what? Who is this man?
Chuck E. Cheese.
We get rid of Zamda's madness, it immediately comes back.
1993.
I didn't know yours could get that high.
What is an animatronic? And that's when we find out a character is colorblind, and they say, "What is purple?"
Hey, We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!